So Grid, I'm Rebecca Cullen for those who don't know me. Grid launched in April of last year. May might have been, I don't remember anymore. Grid Charlotte did. This has been going on for years in Reston, Virginia. And our leadership squad who's there is the Casa Group. And they've been investing for 20 years. And they created an educational platform in which I was like, cool, I don't have to create my own content. So they do that at headquarters, and we have the opportunity to mastermind and share with the folks in Charlotte. So that's a little bit about Grid and why Grid Charlotte started. Grid means grow database, relationships, investing, and develop leaders. So that's the biggest part about it. And I think I put that in the chat box over here. I don't know why I sat down. I have to start admitting people. There we go. And the biggest thing is that it's hyperlocal education. So what we're seeing out in the field, the experiences that we're seeing, and you know, the market changes, we get to talk about that here. And there's masterminding that happens outside of these Wednesday meetings. Yep, so grow, relationships, invest, develop leadership. How many of these have you've been kind of like 3 of them, right? Second one, okay. Yeah. We talked about different topics, like today's wholesale. We talked about the market and state of the union last time. We've talked about using your 401k or your IRA to feed or to finance deals. Hey, welcome, come on in. So it's different topics every single time, and we have different groups. Hey, welcome. So I would love to learn about you. Why are you here? And you know, potentially what industry you're in if you're not in real estate already. So we're also going to hit you guys on Zoom for interaction as well. So Tony, do you want to start?
Yes, I will.
Awesome.
Tony Johnson, I am a real estate agent here in Fort Mill, Both area, and also do software sales.
Nice, Tara. Yes.
Ryan Denvers, we just met Rebecca 24 hours ago. So we're just in here.
Hello, Robbie. I'm just local around the corner, and I kind of drove by and saw the little booth outside and connected.
Oh, good.
And I basically just starting. I've always had this passion that I want to know what about real estate and real estate investment, property investment. So I really absolutely raw in the game, but I want to know it all. So
Awesome.
I need all the help I can.
Very cool. Angela, I'm going to go back to you because it looked like you wanted to add to that.
Oh, no, I was just gonna do it. Well, my name's Angela, the wife of Ryan, but interested in real estate, wanting to learn how to get out of corporate America. Currently in corporate America doing recruitment for accounting firm.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right. Before you go, we're going to go to y'all. So Bridget, you want to start?
Sure. I'm Bridget Graves. I am a full-time realtor licensed in North and South Carolina. I've been doing it for about 17 years, but last year and was slower than we wanted it to be the second half of last year. And I'm anticipating it's going to continue to be slow. So I need to look elsewhere to supplement my income. So I'm starting to do more investing.
Thanks for sharing. Daniel.
My name is Daniel Varag. I'm a real estate agent in North Carolina. I work in the Raleigh area. I'm here mainly because I don't know anything about wholesaling, but I hear a lot about wholesaling. So Rebecca is someone that I know really well, and it's one of those, I trust your opinion. So here I am, and I want to soak up all the information I can.
Thank you for that. Vince.
Hello, I am a real estate agent new to the business. It's been around about 6 months. I do work for Keller Williams out of the Fort Mill Connected area. This is my second grid class I have attended, even though this one is virtually. And I'm just interested in growing my wealth through passive income and things like that. So investing, so in 10, 15 years, I can truly retire.
Awesome. Juan.
How you doing, Juwan? I just want to learn the real estate game. I'm possibly get my license. Really, just want to learn it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Carol, if you're able to unmute.
Hello. Hi. I've been investing for about a year and a half, and I've done wholesale, a flip, or have a midterm rental right now, and I did an owner finance, but I'm still wholesaling. So I wanted to, network and hear what you guys have to say.
Awesome. You might have some great advice to share, so I might call on you if that's cool.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Carol. Margo.
Hi, my name is Margo Chiznovsky. I am a realtor in North and South Carolina. I work with a group, Carolina Lux Team, so in Connected in Fort Mill. And I am very interested in selling, growing, passive income.
So I'm going to ask whoever can mute, that would be awesome. And then, if you have something to share, please come off mute.
Michael, or the husband, she told me about this group. And she said, thanks about it. I'm interested in wholesale. It's not working for a construction crew. I don't want to do this forever.
Awesome. Glad you're here. Hi.
I'm Brian. I have a few rental properties in the Carolinas. Looking to just expand the network, and wholesaling something that I really haven't looked into too much. I also co-own TKK Coffee, which is part of the Keller Williams building in Fort Mill. I co-own with Jeff here.
I was sporting my long sleeve shirt yesterday for TKK Coffee Co.
Always repping.
Yeah.
I'm Jeff, TKK Coffee Co as well. On a few rental properties in Charlotte. I'd like to learn more about wholesale.
Oh.
Military and interpretation. I just want to find a new way to earn passive income.
Awesome.
I am Regina Castillo. I'm a realtor in Florida, in the area of Miami, and I work with a lot of investors.
Awesome.
And at this time, I just moved to Charlotte, and so I'm going to learn more about wholesale and meet people.
Cool. Awesome. Glad you're here.
My name is Curtis. I'm a relatively new real estate investor / wholesaler. By trade, I usually do photography, videography, stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. You've gotten busy because you did something smart the last few days, and it intrigued me, right? So let's get started. Unless somebody has anything to share, like maybe a deal that they're not quite sure of or anything like that, this is a good place to talk about that. So if anybody has that, you can raise your hand. Cool. All right. Well, then let's get started. So, disclaimer, I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. I am a real estate investor and a real estate professional. And if you want to explore something, then please do so and consult all of your professional people. That would be a good choice to make. Everything that I share with you is stuff that I've done personally. Perhaps the people in the room or other agents have seen those things. It worked for us, or perhaps it didn't work for us. It may not work for you. So that's my disclaimer. And I guess you guys might not be able to do that, but if you've wholesaled anything before, can you raise your hand? Okay, so I have. I learned about wholesaling in 2019. And I've been a real estate investor since 2009. And all of a sudden, someone opened up the door for wholesaling, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about this all wrong. As real estate agents, which some of us are in this room, we think commissions. We think, okay, get something listed, and then someone else brings a buyer. Or I have a buyer, and then we bring them to something that someone else has listed. Versus, am I gonna buy this myself? Which is what we should all in this room be thinking about. Can I buy this property? Do I know someone that could help me buy this property? Or could I lock it up and get some seller financing, which is huge right now with the interest rates as high as they are. A lot of people who own properties outright would love to do seller financing because it's easy cash flow for them on a property that they don't owe anything on, right? And so wholesaling is an opportunity for an individual, whether it's an investor or a real estate agent or a just regular person who wants to dabble a little bit. You make offers. You just make offers. And if you don't have the cash, you find someone who does. Some people like Carol and Curtis. So if you don't have the cash to make offers, if you call 5, 10 people, you probably could find the money. And so you lock up the deal for whatever the seller is willing to sell it for. In most cases, you want to make an offer 30% below what it's worth. And for those of us who are not real estate agents, maybe that's a big question. I'm going to teach you about how you figure out how much it's worth. But you always want to be under 30% because you know that you can resell it or assign it to another person or another individual for that market value. So we had, and I wish Ali was here. Ali would have been perfect for this conversation. So Ali's been to a couple of our meetings. He is a wholesaler and he is making, I don't know, 20 offers a day, like at least. And so it's a numbers game for wholesalers. How many phone calls did you get over the last week? Great. So, and it's just through bandit signs, right? So what's a bandit sign?
Bandit sign is like a little sign on the side of the road, or we'll cut out signs. You see the "we buy houses" type signs. The blue bandit sign for wholesaling.
Yeah. So as a wholesaler, I knew what it was, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, why are you charging?"
How are you?
Good. Come on in. So I was like, "Why are you targeting these incredible neighborhoods that just anywhere? Take a seat." Yep. I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, yes, all these people will raise their hands. People in the immediate area who have to sell their home, they're gonna call Curtis because he has a sign that says, "I'm gonna buy your house." They don't know until the conversation comes that he's going to offer 30 to 40% below what it's probably worth. And if they're in a situation that they need to sell, then it's a great opportunity. But here's where the fun comes in, where it's not commission based, and you might also be able to add some value to this conversation, Marcus. He's going to make the spread. So if I want to offer 220, okay, think about, mostly everyone is familiar with Regent Park, right? Like this neighborhood right back here. Okay, so this neighborhood back here, home values over the last 2 years, on average went up like 20%. So when I started in listing houses in 2015, we were able to get things for 225 in Regent Park. Now they're selling for 400, 500,000. If someone inherited the property and they don't want it, and they don't want to have people walk through their house, make repairs, whatever the situation is. Wholesaling, they can call Zillow, they can call OfferPad, they can call all these wholesalers, or they're gonna call Curtis because he put a bandit sign up and say, what are you gonna offer me? And then they decide whether or not they're okay selling for 300,000 when you can put it back on the market for 500. Right? That's the goal. I'm sorry for picking on you, but I'm like. Yes.
So Curtis, your whole situation is you automatically go put it back on the market. You're not keeping it. You just want to
Yeah,
sell.
you're not keeping the property yourself.
You just want
You are making an offer to buy the property, but you're not actually keeping the property.
All right.
You're gonna sign that contract and somebody else will take ownership of the property.
Do you already have that in the back of your head?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's already.
Well, I mean, there are certain, we call it exit strategies you can take. It doesn't have to be on signing the contract. Somebody may want to flip it, or they want to keep it as a rental property, but there's different ways to do that.
Yeah, so like for me, I am assuming any phone call that I get of somebody that's like, if I put a bandit sign out, because now we know what a bandit sign is. If someone's calling me, I'm gonna analyze the deal to make sure that I don't want it first. So yes, I'm a cash offer, but it may not be me. It'll probably be one of my investors, which, you know, we get phone calls all the time of people that are like, hey, tell me what you have. And then that's how you and I connected. I'm like, here's what I have. And then it made sense to assign it.
So, you know, people want to hear that cash offer like right in there. And if you don't have the investor yet, because you just heard about this property, how do you keep their attention to focus on you?
That's such a great question. So we're gonna learn a little bit about that. For someone like me, I've been investing since 2009 in this immediate area. So I already know what all the values are, but for someone who's brand new, you'll either have to partner with someone who has access to the MLS and the comps. Hey, welcome, come in. Nope, you're right on time. Here, just grab. Thank you. So does that help answer your question?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. In the paper.
Yeah, but yes.
So just to understand, so Curtis, right? But Curtis had to sign up.
Yeah.
And Curtis, people from Regent Park is calling Curtis. Curtis doesn't actually pay for the wholesale price of the house, right? He just signs the contract and then finds somebody to buy it. How does that transfer? Like, does the money have to be already there?
Yeah, how do you offer
So you gotta start step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah.
that?
Potentially. So here, okay, let me take a step back.
The senator doesn't have to know.
Yeah, I'm going on that.
So, okay, here it is. So ring, ring. Hey, I saw your sign. I need to sell my house today. I'm moving. I have this situation. I'm sick, whatever it is. And they're like, what's the offer on my house? Well, I don't know what the address is. I don't know anything other than you just called me. So we capture some information. You let it go to voicemail typically so that they can leave you all their details. And then you pull it up, you go to Realtor. If you're not an agent, then, right, like you go to realtor.com or Zillow, or whatever you have access to, and you're like, okay, so now I know what the comps are. So if their house is a disaster, which always assume it is, because they wouldn't be calling you, they'd be putting it on the market, right? So right then and there, I know I'm gonna offer 40 to 30% below whatever they want. Oftentimes, I love to ask the question, how much do you think your home is worth? And they typically have no clue because they're not doing this every day.
Right.
So then I have to go pop over to their house for 15 minutes. Sometimes you don't even need to do that, but if you're brand new, hey, I just need to preview the house for 15 minutes to make sure that I have an accurate price for you. And that's it. They either take the offer that you have or they don't. And that's why it's a numbers game for you to lock something up.
All right, Rebecca, I have a question.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to flip it to the real estate side. What do you do at that point if you're like, the number doesn't work for them? Would you, as a real estate agent, then go for that listing?
So Daniel, I love this question because yes, our team is structured that way, but I would not, as the wholesaler, I'm the cash offer. So then I say, hey, I'm going to connect you to XYZ person who's on my residential retail team, and we're going to talk to you about marketing your property.
Yeah.
So that's just the spin. I'm not trying to take advantage of the situation, but we just have to disclose that we're licensed real estate agents.
Yeah. So you would legitimately hand it off to another agent on your team. You wouldn't have anything to do with it from that point moving forward.
I mean, I have skin in the game, right? Because I own the team, but yes, you pass it off as a new lead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then they can choose whether or not they want to work with us. For the price is still going to probably be low because they have a lot of work that they have to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely it does.
Okay. Yep. So everybody else did a introduction. And so I would love for the two of you to introduce yourself and what industry you're in, if you wouldn't mind.
My name is Marcus. I have the coffee cart down the road.
You sat next to the other cart.
and when I don't sell coffee, I also have a mortgage company.
Yes.
So I do coffee and then home loans.
So the reason why we connected is because their mission for Booyah Mortgage is incredible. Like, I love when there's a why behind what people are doing. And it was so in alignment with everything Cullen Company was doing. So I was like, Marcus, come to this. You were selling wholesale loans.
Right.
And so it just made sense.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is funny that y'all are sitting here tonight.
Is it big ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the South Pole Community Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been meaning to go there, but my favorite place is TBK Coffee.
Can't talk to you
Like 4 times a week.
Fine. Well, you guys also have your truck down in Ortho Carolina.
Yeah, there's no truck there. We run the concession there in North Carolina.
Okay.
So fun. Always room.
Same.
Okay.
And then
I'm Rob. I'm new to the area. I'm looking to get into more of the real estate in the area. You can see what's going on with investing. I've been investing for a while, just not in this area. So trying to find the local groups, real estate groups, and connect to people and network.
awesome. So we have a mixture of investors and a mixture of real estate agents and wholesalers in the room. And then there's Zoom folks too that are Raleigh based and North Charlotte area. I think we're gonna have 2 more people that told me that they were in traffic, so we might have to do one more introduction, sorry. Okay, so just to be clear, wholesaling is the process of finding a good deal, putting it under contract and selling the rights to that contract to another investor, okay? So it's that simple. We already did an example. So if we're using $100,000, for example, okay, so property is worth $100,000 based off of the comps. As a wholesaler, I'm gonna offer them $30,000 below or more. And we're getting into a market that is probably gonna be more because I'm gonna have to flip it, or I'm gonna have to find someone who doesn't wanna pay a lot more for the renovation. And so if I wanna make money off of that contract, I need to larger spread. The problem with wholesaling over the last 2 years is that people have wanted market value. And so wholesalers were starting to offer 80% loan to that or 80% value and then couldn't sell it at all. And so homes were just locked up and couldn't move. And that's why Zillow stopped buying houses and OfferPad stopped buying houses. Open Door still did, but it's because they worked with a buy and hold investor ultimately. And if they couldn't sell it, then they just kept it, which that's smart. Hey, Lauren. Any questions on that? Like the biggest thing is that you have to get it under market value to make any sense. Grab a chair, find a spot. There's people on Zoom too. I shouldn't say sorry.
Yes.
She came from Concord, well, past Concord.
Really?
Yeah. But she adds enormous value, so I'm glad you're here.
I guess,
Sorry, Rebecca, what program do you use to pull your comps? What's your favorite?
The MLS. Just to be totally, like as a real estate agent, I love pulling straight from the MLS. Otherwise, I'll pull from realtor.com if it's off market or tax records.
Have you tried, I'm just kind of know about it.
Yeah.
And I watched the whole and listened to the whole program, Privy, Privy. Privy is that, it's an excellent program. So if you guys want to really look in it, and then there's a prop stream.
Yeah, prop stream, it's
But
expensive.
Privy, but no, it's 97 a month, but Privy is more, how can I say, more expanded for putting everything that you need, the props and all that, is kind of more advanced than prop stream.
Okay.
So kind of look at the demo. It's really, really excellent program.
So can you spell that one more time?
I'm gonna check it. PRIV for Victor Y. Privy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, as a real estate agent, we're already subscribed to getting that information.
Yeah.
But we have explored PropStream for unlicensed agents.
Mhm.
And then we also use tax records, which usually, like, I had a package of homes come across my desk yesterday, and I just went on tax records to figure out how much the seller had paid for them, which was like $20,000. And I'm like, I'm in. I just need to make sure that I offered $200,000 for 3 homes as a package, knowing that I'd have to flip them or resell them, and we're just too far apart on our pricing. So
You try to buy a free home for $20,000 total or a piece?
no, I offered 200,000.
For 3 homes? Like both homes?
Nope,
Regular homes?
regular homes with $3,200 cash flow in each one. Yeah, but like there's deals out there, guys. Like
Wow.
people need to sell, or they need to offset their gains, and they need to 1031.
They need money.
They need money, and we have the money.
Need money over having a roof over their head.
It's not, they're not typically, well, some of them live in the houses, but most of them are absentee owners.
Okay.
Mhm.
Flip that.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
I just wanted to get clarity on, I guess the theory is either you have the cash and you have someone that has the cash,
Yeah.
or you partner with that person, or you two have the cash.
Uh-huh.
Or, you know, not even say two, but however many people have the cash, so when you make an offer on that, you actually, if you can't assign it, you actually buy the house. And then
Yeah.
you-
So again, those of us who are real estate agents, we think with the cap of, okay, I have a buyer or I have a seller. And then I'm charging 3, 6, whatever percent that you decide that you want to. This is literally a spread between the amounts that we're talking about. It's the same cash, it's the same money. But you're working, your passive income there is just contracts, it's paper pushing, basically.
So contract.
Yes. Question?
So that's why you met Marcus, because of the wholesale loan, so like. your client can buy a wholesale property with a loan, they don't have to have all of that cash, is that right?
But you're, not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Different wholesale.
Yeah, so. Wholesale, I love where you're going with that, but the wholesale mortgage is that they're getting like the prime rate. And you're not paying your APR, which is like, for example, if you're getting a 5.62% interest rate, your bank is probably charging another 0.25%. You're not seeing that because you're seeing the percentage that they've advertised to you, but then when you look at the statement or the disclosure, you're gonna see a loan origination fee, you're gonna see an APR percentage, and then it's truly 5.9% when all is said and done. Okay, Siri. So wholesale loans, if you wouldn't mind.
Right, yeah, so wholesale side of it, so we're the lender. So like we have the funds, and so the broker comes to us and says, hey, I got this client here who wants to get this property, you know, that they have it very clear, and they want to get they want to get a loan for it. Okay, great. Well, here's the rate. Here's what they have to have, and then this. Okay, great. That works. They come to me, and I say, okay, get it in, and we'll close it for you.
It's just different. It's like a different process.
Okay, it's a different understanding. Completely different.
Yeah. So this wholesaling, you have to sell the contracts. So you the contract in, you say, okay, for this fee, here's this house. Whereas wholesaling as the lender, we have the funds. You come to me for great rates and getting it closed.
Yeah.
So you need to have all the cash on hand to buy a wholesale property.
No.
No. So you can. So
no, you're totally fine.
Yeah. So she can have the cash. He can want the contract. So you have the contract. You sell to him, and he can go to her for the cash. And then you say, okay, house was $100,000, but I'm going to give you what $75,000. And then you charge him $3,000 for it, you know, or $10,000 for it. And then so like he says, okay, deal, because he's still getting less than when he would get it for. Right. So then he pays you, you know, your fee for it, and then he gets the funds, and then he closes.
Yeah. So this might help. Okay. So let's say you don't have the cash, that you're an investor who does not have $100,000 sitting in the bank. So you call up all the people you might know who could potentially buy this property, and you talk to the seller and you say, would you take $75,000 for this, or $60,000 for your property? I would love to buy this from you. We're going to close in 120 days. It's a long time, but I mean, that's sometimes what happens. Your whole goal is to find somebody who will buy it from you, or buy the contract from you for $80,000, $90,000, $100,000.
And they don't know it any better. They don't know that you might have bought that property for $60,000.
Right.
It's not public record. It's not reported at that point.
Well, so unfortunately, in one of our states here, you do have to disclose, you can't double close. So yes, ideally they don't know, but in North Carolina, you can't double close. So technically the money has to be there, first closing happens and then second closing happens. Does that make sense?
Yes, so basically, you gotta tell the person that you gotta buy it from them, right?
Yeah, so they're gonna see it. Go ahead.
Like, isn't that a double closing though? You just said like, you close it and then they close it.
Yeah, because we saw the contract, if I tell her that I told it to her. If I tell her that, and then I tell her 120 days, and I'm trying to find out the back and forth, that's double closing it.
Yeah, sorry, so it is double closing, but you have to disclose, they're gonna see on the disclosure.
You have to disclose it though, but.
Yeah, so like, our contracts are written out that say, our intention is to assign this contract.
Yeah, because that's the assignment, purchase agreement, right?
Yes, so literally, I have an attorney that wrote out assignment contracts, yes.
But if you can find somebody to buy it within 10 days of you putting money down on it, that's not double closing, right? Like if
No, because then I bought it.
But yeah, because if I tell her that in 10 days we go close, and she waiting for my set of money for what I said to say it's 60,000, she wanted 100, and I said that I got 75, would you take that? She said yes, but you better hurry up. And I got 10 days to go find somebody to buy it for 100. I'm not doing nothing wrong, right?
No, that's, you just described exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just described it.
Hey, Rebecca. Rebecca, I have a quick question for the folks on the Zoom, because some of it is getting garbled there. But one, do you have a separate contract that you use when you are wholesaling a property, or would you just use the standard OTP?
Yes, it is a assignment contract, not a offer to purchase.
And so you have no intention of closing that actual transaction. You're going to your investors saying, hey, look, I will sell you this contract for $5,000 or $10,000. Is that correct?
Yes, so.
You're not actually selling the house. You're literally just selling the paper, and they are taking that contract and then closing the house.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Daniel.
All right.
That cleared it up.
And that's how you get paid.
10 days, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you can say, like she said earlier, I'll give you, give me 120 days, or give me 30 days, or 60 days. Because yes, that gets determined. The seller said, okay, I'm not in a hurry, but see what you can do.
Yeah,
So
so
right or wrong?
you're exactly right.
Okay.
So all of our assignment contracts say we will close in 60 days.
All right, and in 60 days, you can find bigger money if you want to.
You can, or you don't, and then you have to renegotiate either lower price because nobody's making an offer, or extra time, or you terminate completely, which again, in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of terminations, and then people are displaced and they're mad, and that's why wholesaling is not really.
But if you got the money, you good, right?
So I think we're blessing people. So like, this is my mindset around it, which is why I do it, because if they're in a circumstance, so for example, we have, I'm gonna use York County because that's primarily where we're investing. Every October, houses and land go to auction. So it makes sense, write this down. It makes sense to start targeting the tax liens in August.
How do you find out who's got a tax lien against their house?
There's an entire list, like they publish the list that's gonna go to auction.
Only go to York County, go to PhD.
Yes, yeah. So oftentimes people are like, where are the foreclosures? Well, there's not a lot of foreclosures, but what there are is a lot of tax liens, and they will literally go to auction if they don't pay $600. Like, it's so small. But these people either inherited, or they have hardships, or they're not.
Oh, did you say their house will go to a tax lien even if they owe $600? And the people will not pay it?
Yeah.
What?
The camp.
Yes. Yeah. So those people, again, we are blessing them because we are taking the tax. So for example, I will pay their lien, and then I'll buy a year I'm literally buying them a year from losing their property. And so when that happens, they're grateful because they still have an opportunity to earn equity in whatever they're selling.
So when you buy that lien, they still gotta pay on the mortgage for the whole rest of the year? Or you just offer them, you say, let me buy your house off of you right now?
Most of them own the property outright and just forgot to pay the
I
tax.
get what you're saying.
Most of the people, not everyone. Then it truly forecloses.
Losing the house in the city.
But what I heard and these are fact, because you really want to help that person that foreclosure doesn't go on his credit because it's gonna be stuck there for years and years.
Yeah.
So you really wanna go, like you say, help them, and they will take whatever comes their way, so as
Yes.
long as their name keeps clean.
Except the fun part is when they don't and they're like, no, I want 20,
Yeah.
or I want like.
When you offer a person,
Suck it out of you.
the person doesn't have position, and the house is already paid for, and you can tell that they don't want it, and they're just gonna let it roll over $600. What do you offer to get that house? But how much do you offer them to get that? I mean, to get.
So I'll give you an example. So we'll look up the property value, and if it 70,000, it's usually not a lot. $70,000 is what it's worth. So I'll make an offer of 35,000. They were willing to let it go in the next month anyways. So I will pay their lien. I will offer them 35,000. And it's that net deducts whatever the tax lien is. And then they have to pay for their own attorney fees, et cetera, title, et cetera, out of that. And then they get the rest. Meanwhile, ideally, we're marketing to another either wholesaler or an agent or an investor or whoever, saying, we will give you this contract, we will assign this contract to you for $40,000, well, typically $50,000. And then they will say yes or no, make an offer, and then we'll go to closing.
And the property belongs to them, and you get $50,000 off. You gave them 35 and you get 50, right?
Whatever the difference is minus attorney fees, and I got my tax lien back, money back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Is everyone following that?
And then there's another option. If you offer, let's say, you offer them 35,000, they don't want to live in the house anymore. They really want to get rid of everything. They will take the 35.
Yep.
And then say, well, where do I go? Well, what if I help you to move or get you a truck and come and help you pack?
Yep.
Or get people to pack.
Yeah.
And let's get you a rental that's going to cost you so much more. You don't have this burden, and you save them from the agony that's going to come for many years to come. They will say, yeah, let's sign.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And that's why Zillow started to package these options where they'll move you or they'll help you find a rental or, those things. That's why Zillow and Open Door started to do that, because not every wholesaler thinks that way.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yes, of course they'll sign with you because you're making it convenient for them.
Especially if it's an elderly couple or elderly person. They don't want that burden.
$600 tax bill, they probably can't afford it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's why.
Even if you were helping with your first month, with last month.
That's right.
Potentially, yeah. So there's creative ways.
Do wholesalers search for certain groups of people, or are they just ready to get any contract?
I know my answer. Whoever has done this before, what's your answer?
So there's a little bit of research. You gotta, I mean, besides the sign that you were talking about, there's a little bit of research of digging into those tax liens and finding and seeking out those distressed and then selling it in a way that makes it sound good, even though that buyer might know significantly under what's probably worth.
Yeah, usually they're aware that they're selling significantly lower.
Are you adding any incentives to that? Like, so if it's not just going to be a exchange of contract and you end up not being able to get rid of that and you're getting near that 60 days, are you going through the standard procedures of I mean, it wouldn't be appraisals because it's cash offer, right? There's home inspection, you're probably waiving anyway. Is that ever something that's sold right up front? Like, yeah, we're gonna offer you significantly less than it's worth, but it's gonna be a easier close. We're not gonna be dependent on.
Every time. Yeah, every time that's our value proposition is we're no hassle, we're not asking to show. Occasionally, if it's vacant, we'll put a lockbox on and let investors transfer, do whatever they need to do. But it's rare. Most of the time, people are willing to make offers if you get it locked up low enough. Because the value of property has just rise so much, you know?
What's a substantial amount, if this starts to work, right? What's a substantial amount that you would tell people to put back so they can constantly keep doing this over and over?
Well, you don't need any money if you're assigning it to other people.
You just need to get together and the research of the house.
Yeah, and a good attorney.
So help me understand a little bit, who are or who would be the other people? Who are the people that you should find, that you'd be looking for to bring these properties to?
Yeah, so a couple of people have raised their hands in the room. So we call it our buyer list. So that was Daniel, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, perfect. So as a real estate agent, Daniel, this is a great opportunity to lead generate to your database and ask who wants to be on your buyer list.
Yep.
And anyone for that matter, like create that. If you're an investor and your intention is to wholesale, then you better start creating your buyer list. Like that is literally what Curtis is doing right now.
Because we're not getting the listing agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is your opportunity. Okay, so what Lori is saying is, as a real estate agent, we are subject to certain ethics and we cannot have pocket listings here in the area. But if you have a buyer and you have a seller, then you can coordinate that together outside of our ethics.
So.
As long as disclosure happens.
Soccer one, I agree with your transaction.
Take your real estate agent hat off completely here.
That's, I'm not tempted to take my real estate hat off because I understand the idea.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I'm getting stuck up on all these little particulars that are in my head. I'm like,
So if you had your brother want to sell his house to your cousin, you have to put it on MLS?
No.
I'm your new brother.
So
You have personal relationships.
Yeah.
That you're putting the two people came together because of you. No need to put it on MLS.
Understand all that, get it.
You will not do any agency agreements here at all.
So I guess what you're saying is, it's not a contract that's in the way that I'm thinking of, it's an assignment. So I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna buy your house, you, let's say $50,000. Cool, I'm signing this assignment contract, or I'm getting them to sign this assignment. My plan is to assign this to someone else.
Yeah.
Right, I go to someone else, say, hey, look, I've got this great property, $80,000, it's yours. They say, hey, cool. And then all I'm doing is getting that assignment contract. They're paying the $80,000. I guess where I'm getting hung up on is, how do I get it from A to B?
The transfer of money?
Yes, there.
Your great attorney, yeah, your attorney is the one that's going to disperse all the funds.
Yeah.
And collect all the funds. They're also going to pull title. It's really important. It's on here. This is a process piece. I highly advise that you pull title.
Yes.
No matter what, because there's gonna be clouds on these. And especially if you're a real estate agent and you don't wanna go to jail, you make sure there's no clouds on these things, otherwise you will get sued.
Okay, so assignment contract, they've signed it, this 50,000 here, 80,000 here. I get the difference there?
So
Or
here's
somewhere in
potential. So it depends on if in your contract you have any assignment fees. If you have any transaction fees, et cetera, it's all disclosed in your assignment contract. When you assign it to another person, whether it's another wholesaler or another investor, you could opt to say, cool, we're gonna get paid $5,000 because we brought this deal to you. So you could double end it that way on top of the equity. I'm blowing your mind right now.
So you said that he just pays the difference, and then he gets another $5,000 from the people that just gave him the 80,000.
There's an established fee.
Yeah, if there's a fee. Yeah. So this is where you stop thinking commissions, you start thinking assignment fees.
Assignment.
Got it. But
Am I right?
Honestly, I'm not a real estate agent. I was years ago,
Yeah.
many years ago, but, yeah.
You know where that.
You're charging assignment fees.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you, if you don't have enough of a spread, which again, right now people want close to market value, then you on top of what you're assigning, you get the fee.
What's your general assignment fee percentage or amount?
Wait, I don't charge them because they can spread.
Okay.
I don't do them sorry.
So,
I charge the people years.
no, it's okay. So
So what do
I
you
usually
do?
don't either.
Oh, well, I analyze a deal and I make offers that, have certain limits as what I'm going to offer this price. And if they don't meet me there, I just don't do it.
Right.
Okay, that's simple.
Is that something that we don't pick up?
Yeah.
And that's why somebody told me years and years ago, and I've always done this, you just make 5 offers a day. I mean, yeah, granted, like that's a lot for most people, but I have access to the MLS. I have investors all the time looking for things. I'm pointing to Tara because Tara and I, like, we've done deals together personally because we know that we're always looking. And so if I'm making offers and I'm assigning it to all my people, they're making money, I'm making money, we're all happy, right?
It's certain, it's a large amounts, houses that are worth lots of money, y'all don't touch stuff like that, right? Because usually they list them, right?
Well, it depends.
There's a condition they're in as far as if they go on the house or if that's going to foreclosure.
Yeah, so short sales, would they, what year?
08, 09, 01 to 12.
Yeah, so short sales were huge.
Of course.
And so in order to save them from, well, they've pretty much lost everything already. For that to not hit their credit report, we could potentially make them a deal and then assign that contract. And it could have been $300,000. It could have been, $150,000. I think the best people to, most people like HGTV or like Bravo or those things, Tara and Christina, who are Flip This House or Flip or Flop or whatever that show is, back in the day, they were wholesalers, or they are wholesalers who just kept doing it, even if it was a flop, they just kept going, and they knew it was a numbers game. And now, like, they're millionaires, billionaires, maybe even. Obviously, they're divorced now. Sorry.
Why are you talking about those two? Yeah, they got their own set of souls and the show.
Yeah, so it's like they made enough mistakes,
Wow.
but they made enough mistakes, but they had enough people always sending them deals that they were able to analyze. We're either gonna hold this, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna flip this, we're gonna sell this to somebody else. They were wholesalers. They just didn't talk about that part of it.
Yeah, because it was doing massive deals on that show.
Yeah.
I mean, these deals was like 900 something in California and everything. I mean, it was always cheap.
They're always gonna go after.
Yeah.
I guess the issue, obviously, you got a ton of cash and you can do a whole lot of things. I'm just thinking of it from the standpoint of, okay, if you're starting from zero,
Yep.
Like, let's just say you have a home, that's it, you have a job, you do all these other things that you wanna get into, well, myself, I'm talking about myself.
Yes,
I have my house and I'm working real estate, I'm doing all these other things.
Yep.
But if I wanna get into this, like, you're saying no people that have all the money, right?
Yep.
It's one option.
build your buyer list.
Build the buyer list
Yep.
is one option, I guess. And the other, you said you could do it without no money, but I guess that's way more advanced and I'm still stuck on the basics.
You are not, unless you wanna buy the property,
Yeah.
which again, like, and you know this about me. We had deals come across the desk last year in our own neighborhood. So I live in Regal Manor. A lot of us are also live there. So I live in Regal Manor and we had a lot of hand raisers in the last 2 years of people that wanted to move. And so every single time, most of the time, everybody wanted market value, which we kept pushing. We talked about this the other day. Every time we pushed the home values up, like every 30 listings, it just kept building up. One came across my desk and she was willing to take $330 for her townhouse. Well, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, that house is worth $380. It appraised for $380, but she was willing to take $330 and it had a long-term tenant in it. Keeping that crap. Oh, right, like, I kept it, but it took me 6 months to sit on it and then finally realize, oh my gosh, look how much money is there. And I could have wholesaled it, I could have put it on the market, I could have listed it, all those things. That's an example of, yes, no, I kept it because I knew that it was gonna appraise that high and I was gonna cash flow. Or I could have been like, hey, Tony, I know about this great property. Who do you know? And then we're not listing it.
Can do what with?
It's a rental.
Oh, rental?
Yeah. And actually, people moved out right after. So the tenants that I bought the house with told the property manager that they wanted to move out. She calls me because she knows I'm a property manager also. She calls me, she says, hey, do you want to manage this yourself? We can give it to you. I bumped up the rent $400.
Still.
And I'm the property manager. So I'm not paying
Yeah.
right, any fee. So now I own a house that I bought for free. I screwed the neighborhood totally because I bought the house, it appraised $50,000 more. I now have a cash flowing property that I earned $400 extra net on.
And it's yours and it's on your, it's all yours. Like
It's
people
not-
just rent it
You
out.
were just very creative. It's part of your portfolio.
In that in that situation. And then, yesterday, Sunday, we had a client, we've done multiple deals with him. He is an investor and we saw a property that seemed pretty low on the market in Rock Hill. And we went to check it out. It probably needs like $50,000 of work. So we made a deal, $30,000 below list, seller financing. He's only putting 20% down and he has a balloon payment in 3 years, but he's gonna flip it, so it'll be paid, it'll be done by April. So he's only paying $720 a month and gets to keep all of his cash to flip it.
This is a life. Who is this person buying it from?
So I'm not wholesaling it. That was the real estate hat in me, but this is a creative financing opportunity that I was just working through.
So, to touch on the, who do I wholesale this to?
Yes.
I imagine it would be a really great thing to leverage someone else's database.
Yes.
If you're not a realtor and you have a great realtor with a lot of clientele that they serve,
Yes.
they probably can find you a great investor buyer
Yes.
if you have them on.
Every
your
time, which is why I called your bandit sign.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, I was like, hey, we have a class, by the way. Right, like, but not only, you know, also meeting Marcus the other day and, we have, and you know this, because you're in our organization. We have 3,600 people in our database that have raised their hand saying, I want deals. I want to know about these deals. And we teach these classes so that people can have the conversations that we want to have, right? And so I talk to lots of wholesalers because we have lots of properties we can't move. And so we might as well just all work together.
Yeah. We'll help each other.
Yeah.
And it also helps all the newbies.
Yeah.
How to really get into the thing.
So I think Tony, I think you asked this question and we kind of skirted around it. If you're new to wholesaling, what next? What's first? Right?
Yeah.
So we had a woman, she's a woman, who just started as a real estate agent. She needed fast money. So I said, well, congratulations, you're gonna wholesale because that's the fastest way for you to make some money. So she did the whole tax thing, tax lien thing. She wrote like 150 letters because she didn't have the money to call people through a program, like to find phone numbers. So she just wrote letters and she got 4 or 5 hand raisers. So then I said, okay, great. Now you're gonna figure out how to go on these appointments. I'm not going with you. You got this. You know exactly what to do. And she got all of them to say yes to us paying their lien and explore us potentially making an offer. We're the cash offer. 2 of them were outrageously like they weren't gonna perk, like it was, one was land, so it wasn't gonna perk, so that's, in my opinion, trash, where I will never get someone to be able to buy it. So we didn't make an offer on that one. And then 2 others were proper, like physical houses, and they just wanted more than what I thought we could get it under contract for. But one was golden, and she locked it up for like $7,000. So the lien was $4,000, and we got it under contract for $7,000, and it's worth $120,000.
What? Did they not know how much they was worth?
No. It was a house you bought?
House.
They sold it for $7,000.
We locked it up for $7,000.
Okay.
On top of
Sorry.
including
And we paid the lien,
Which is 4,000.
About 4,000.
which was $4,000.
Okay, I got that out of the way.
So really, they're netting 3.
The person was netted 3. Okay, but you said it was worth 100,000.
It's worth $120,000.
But they had to lose it over 4,000. If they could not pay.
So if they had just put it on the market, and we did offer that, because you know that's a solution as a real estate agent. They said, no, we don't want to have to bother with it, just sell it, do whatever you need to. And, or excuse me, they wanted us to buy it. And so we sold it, we signed the contract for $40,000 and made the spread.
So why?
Yeah.
Because
Good evening, Rebecca.
They probably had a hidden agenda.
I'm
So
surprised.
7 grand?
Rebecca,
Yes.
good evening. This is Dara. How y'all doing?
Good.
I think what everyone's missing is the fact that they have a need, the sellers, and we're fulfilling that need.
Yeah.
Some sellers may be out of state. They have their own families on a property that they may have inherited. And all they want is the fast dollar because they may have school tuition for their kids coming up.
Yes.
They could ask for a new.
Or their daughter's going to college and she wants a brand new car. So it's understanding what their why is. Well, why do you want to sell?
And why are you at this price, and meeting them where they're at. Not from a real estate agent's point of view and fiduciaries and getting them the highest possible sales price in the open market. They don't have time for the open market. They have a need that needs to be fulfilled.
Thank you for that. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And they probably inherited it and it's just standing there.
Maybe this situation, they didn't, they just needed the money. It's kind of like, you know how January hits and all of a sudden you hear those loan pronto commercials on the radio, like, hey, I need $500, I need to pay off the credit cards. We all have heard those, and quite frankly, I've been in those situations before where I'm like, I need money fast. What can I do? Typically, it's selling a property. That's usually, and you know this about like 2019, I needed to sell a property real fast. So I did. And I left money on the table, but I did it. And I was happy.
I did the same thing.
And you did the same thing.
So Rebecca,
Yes.
let me get this straight. The house was worth 120. The
Yes.
seller was willing to take $7,000.
Well, technically $3,000, remember, because we paid for the lien and we knocked that off the price.
And they obviously knew the value of the house.
We presented to them the value of the house.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Guys, it's the same way you have people out here with these payday loans and these title loans. They have a need. They will put their $30,000 car and pay 100 or 300% interest just to get $1,500 to meet their light bill.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
sad.
So like we may not do it, right? Like I'm putting my real estate hat on. For those who are not real estate agents, I'm putting it on for a minute. I, in 2016, used to tell my buyers to not waive appraisals or repair negotiations, because personally, I wouldn't do that. And somebody said, that's why you can't get any of your buyers under contract, because other people are willing to do that. And so that was a light bulb in my head, which was, stop putting your beliefs on these other people. You need to walk through every scenario. Here's all the things that could go wrong. Here's all the things that could be great, but that's their decision. If Mr. and Mrs. Seller decide that they need $3,000, not $120,000, that's not for me to decide for them. That's for me to be able to find a solution for them. Does that make sense?
Pro tip, what you just said, I spent a year in real estate and made zero money because I was putting my beliefs on everyone else. And the second I was like, it's not my money. What am I don't, it's not my money. I let them do what they want. Deals happen.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So all my cues and answers and all, we've already talked. Okay, so how do I get paid? You talked through a lot of the processes that we have written out, and I want to be good stewards of all your time. So how do I get paid? Your fee can be either a line item on the settlement statement, which is the assignment fee typically, or it can be escrowed through the title company or attorney with an account that is wired to you afterwards. So those of us who are real estate agents, this is not commission. This is going to a different account, and this is going to your investment account, not a commission. Your real estate firm does not need to be paid. You hear me? I'm looking at you and I'm like, you're not an agent.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So stop thinking like an agent and start thinking like an investor.
What did you say about escrowing the second point?
Yeah, so it could be with an escrow account and released to you at settlement. It'll be wired to you typically. Our favorite, and those who are not in Charlotte, I don't know who to recommend, but my favorite title company and closing company, because they just understand what we're doing, is Harry Marsh Law, which is 24-hour title. Do you have feelings around that, Lori?
I love it.
Yeah, so Harry Marsh Law, which is now called 24-Hour Title, and I really hope I get a commission for plugging them. Just kidding. But they just 24-hour titles. Yeah, and the reason why they're great is because they can do earnest money and due diligence money and closing money all via Zocan, which is a kind of like Zelle. It's an app.
Oh, yeah.
basically. Yeah, so like
Immediate transfer.
if we're doing, and that's why I was like, let's do 24-hour title. If I need to send earnest money because we locked up a deal and that's on the contract, I can just go on the website and it's sitting there already. Like literally the contract starts immediately, which is why I love them. So how do I get paid? How much money do you need to start wholesaling? Possibly none. This is essentially a marketing business, so you should be prepared to spend money on marketing the deals. So buying lists, potentially getting signs. What else?
What about the earnest money deposit?
Same thing.
Don't you have to have that?
Yes, but then you get it back if you end up wholesaling it.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying up front, you need a little bit of money for that.
Potentially. So like, we're talking about like $100 to lock it up sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they'll accept $0. It just depends what you negotiate. I like to do 500 because then it like kind of makes me like cool. Well, it makes me like keeps
More
it
legit.
yeah, it keeps me like
What?
for earnest money to lock up a deal. It just keeps it like at the forefront, like I'm not losing $500.
Yeah.
So
You guys
let's
that from them?
I, as the wholesaler, will typically offer $500 earnest money that goes to the title to the attorney. Fit and hold unless we terminate. Usually, if we terminate, usually they keep that money. That's at least in my contracts, but I haven't had that ever yet.
Yeah, I had a contract once with a seller. He didn't care. I give zero money. He didn't care about any of that.
Yeah.
And, but I was just saying, in general, you need something.
You said letters. Letters are definitely something if you're trying to grow a big wholesale list. How do I handle settlement? So again, the attorney, we're in attorney states. So the attorney will handle the settlement. Typically, we have our sellers and our wholesale buyers close at different times, and we usually don't attend settlement at all. Usually, it can all be done virtually or mail away or online these days even. And then utilize a traditional settlement partner who knows what they're doing. Like oftentimes lawyers, just like this conversation where real estate agents are like not getting the whole commission versus wholesale fee. Attorneys don't understand what we're trying to achieve in some cases. So if you're working with an attorney that has a quick title company and a quick and easy closing process, then you'll win every time.
Who's your favorite lawyers that you use? Property lawyers?
Say it one more time.
Who's your favorite property lawyer that you would use in your cases?
From residential, yeah. If you from a normal standpoint, yeah, we love NIT Law, we love Law Firm Carolinas, and we love Wilson and Bean. And truly, and Lori, you probably have other people because you're up in Concord.
Believe it or not, Nick has a Concord office.
Yes, that's why we love them.
And my closing Friday is with Law Firm Carolina.
Perfect.
Yeah, Harry Marshall, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, I have some in Salisbury, if it's in Salisbury.
Yeah.
But outside of that.
really, the reason why I typically recommend those people is because they have the ability to serve all of Charlotte. And then if I need to go pick up a check, they can get it to me quickly. Like the smoothness and the accent, like Joe Thompson, for example, from law firm Carolinas, he screwed up, and he would say this. We pulled title for one of our investors and they missed a huge chain of clout. Like, so for those who don't know, somebody passed away and the right of ownership should have gone to next of kin, but it didn't. It sold as a tax lien, I think. So what we were just talking about, and nowhere in that chain of title was it ever through probate. It just sold and nobody pulled title in that moment. So now my clients pulled title and it closed, but then now we're reselling it and the cloud was found and the previous title insurance company won't insure it, even though they screwed up, which is the whole point of title insurance. So I don't really understand. So Joe screwed up, allowed this thing to close. And so he found 4 heirs of this one guy who never passed through probate years ago. And he literally hired a private investigator and like drove down to Great Falls to find these people. And 3 of them have signed a deed. And now he and I are both trying to get this last guy on the phone because he doesn't want the property, but we need them to sign deeds. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But Joe is doing it for free. You know, that's like, you want that in your back pocket, right? Poor guy, I feel bad for him. So
I have another question in terms of if you're the wholesaler and who's on your team helping find these deals, how, I assume it could be a good option to have what they call it, someone who's driving around looking for vacant properties.
Yes.
Bird dogger.
What do they call it?
Bird
yeah,
dog.
bird dog.
Yeah.
So that depends. So like if I'm a bird dog, so that's like a good thing. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like literally he walks through what that looks like in that book. So sometimes bird dogs are just paid a referral fee. Like if you're thinking about real estate agents, could be $2,000, could be $1,000, depends on what the property is worth. But usually the bird dog has a set fee to do it. Like if I'm gonna send something, I want $2,000 minimum.
Not necessarily related to the value of the property, just related to their time spent.
Usually, yeah. So like if we're, for example, if we're looking at a property in Chester and we know that we're gonna target that one area for a flip, then we're probably gonna call agents. We're definitely gonna call agents down there, but we're also gonna call other locals just to be like, hey, be on the lookout. Hey, I'll send you $250. I'll send you a gift card. I'll whatever. And they'll do it.
Is it $2,000 per?
That was really random.
Yeah, I'm saying is it per listing or is this regular time?
For a deal.
Per deal.
I have a question on that too, vague to answer because this will go in any kind of direction. What kind of taxable event is this?
This is income.
It's just regular income. There's no way to really, like, off the top, like 1031 type shelter.
Not for the wholesale, but if you're buying it, then it's gonna offset your gain.
Okay.
But yeah, think of this is your job.
Yeah, it's just bringing in money.
Yeah.
Are you giving those to us? Or that's for you?
I can email this slide. Yeah, the slides are right there. I can email all of
Is that
it.
what that is?
When we do, so if you registered, which I think I just sent you the link.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so if you registered for the class, you'll get a follow-up email about kind of the summary of it. And on that, I will have Rania include the slides. So we'll make sure you get it.
But like me, on you guys.
I appreciate it. Thank
Hi, thank you. Yeah, that's my answer.
You're thinking that I always
We starting to pass the state test in North Carolina, and I didn't even need it if I had come here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, my only that I can bring this free. And
Yeah.
I start doing wholesale.
And oftentimes, like, we do have, and Tony knows this because we've had these conversations before, but like, if someone wants to get into real estate, but they have a full-time job, or they don't quite know that they want to sell, we have conversations around, okay, so do you just want to be an investor? Do you just want to be in the acquisitions business? Maybe they just want to be a cold caller, you know, like Tony is really great. Well, you haven't done it in a few years, but like, I was looking at Tony like, he could probably be a great inside sales agent. Like, that's what you did for years with Oracle. And ultimately his goal is to have this big, massive real estate company. And so I wasn't going to take that opportunity away from him. I was going to feed that opportunity for him. So I like to have that discovery conversation. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no, but I'm happy that I came.
Yeah.
Because
I hope everyone, yeah.
No, sorry. You know what I did just for my own practice and for my own start in the whole game? I pulled pre-foreclosure lists. And all the information on there, and call the lawyers and say, I've got this case number, it's going to be in foreclosure, because a lot of the things that we picked up, it doesn't say that it's really updated. So the only way you're going to find out if it's still in foreclosure and the amount of time, because a lot of these people that lives in that house that's going into foreclosure, they think, oh no, I've got 3 months, or I've got 6 months, and then when you really get to the final countdown, they've got 10 days or 17 days, and like, oh damn, we need to get to them quickly. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing that little research. I can find out, you know, how can I help and save what's to be saved.
Yeah.
And it puts in a little work, but it's the only way I'm going to learn how to get to that.
Yes.
And then I came across a property where the guy, the owner, he said, I want X amount, I'm just looking to sell. And I thought, okay, tonight's class is going to be the answer. So I need to talk to someone about that property. Because I'm going to talk straight to the seller.
And that's the whole point of these. Like, I was supposed to look Rania. So Rania is my teammate, and she helps us with Grid and runs the back end of Grid for us. And she's going to be disappointed that I couldn't tell you what the next class is. Maybe someone who is registered for February's class could tell me. But whatever the topic is, you'll get an email tomorrow. But every month, it's every second Wednesday of the month, 5:30, typically here, but we like to go around Charlotte, different areas, especially because you come from Concord, or that Kannapolis area. But this is the best place for people to chat about deals. So, and then if it's also being recorded or on Zoom, people will see the YouTube video and will be like, oh, I need to connect with her.
Right.
Yeah. Did I blow everyone's mind, or yes? Does it make sense?
It seemed like everyone it was a struggle to take off realtor hats and also just take off the common sense hat of, wait, a house can go for 7,000. It's really you gotta find those distress. I mean, looking down the barrel of I owe 4,000 or I can make 3,000 if you find someone desperate enough. I think that's hard to kind of wrap your head around logic.
Yeah.
So I used to own 20 acres in Arizona and never occupied it. There's never been a structure on it. My mom deeded it to me. I just paid $230 a year in tax. It's a big deal. But if I couldn't pay that, people were always sending me letters. It was worth like 30,000. Like, oh, I can use for like 5. Like a rough thing. And I'm laughing. I'm like, think about it. $5,000. However, if I knew I was losing that property and I did have the back taxes for 2 years, I'd rather make $5,000 than nothing, and I would have sold it to any of them in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
Just to at least get something. So you just don't know what people's situations are.
Exactly. And that's why you have to, the numbers game. If you're going to make 5 offers a day, you will become a millionaire, basically. Like, that's 5 offers a day.
Yeah.
And then you get to decide if you want to keep any of them. Right? Cool. Well, thanks all.
I got a tip yesterday where somebody said to me, you know, if you focus on wholesale just to get used to the whole thing, process, the creativity behind the way you can do it, and you feel comfortable after 4 or 5 months, then you hit the next one with a fix and flip, because now you've got money in the bank. Buy one and play around with it. Make it a crafty situation where you can flip it and get the people to do it. And then you decide, yeah, I'm gonna flip it really and let it go, or hold it.
Right.
You know,
A lot of people buy land around here and then they just flip the contract.
Correct.
Right? Like land flipping. Bye, everyone. Bye, guys. Thank you.